The grid is a bit different this year, all because of this one problem that all cars have in common: porpoising. Porpoising has been an issue for most Formula One teams during pre-season testing. This takes place when you visibly see a car bouncing. In light of the new technical regulations introduced this season, the teams had to change their strategies and approach, which meant they had to switch from over-body downforce to ground effect philosophy. To put it simply, it's an aerodynamic phenomenon that allows the increase then a sudden decrease of downforce to make the car look like it's bouncing up and down. A lot of teams are very vocal about it, but the ones who talk about every chance they get are probably Ferrari and Mercedes. However, Team Red Bull and maybe Ferrari themselves look like they're managing their porpoising issues quite well. Porpoising is not that big of a problem on the straights as long as it does not damage the car or shake the driver beyond what they can tolerate, because that will sure be annoying. It really makes the drivers uncomfortable to the point that they're in pain physically. Even Lance Stroll of Aston Martin admitting that porpoising rattles your brain quite a bit. And yeah, Red Bull seems like they have everything under control. A fact that lets Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez place at the front of the grid. The team introduced a major upgrade on the very last day of testing in Bahrain, with huge changes to the RB18 side pods and floor. This new floor was aimed at reducing the amount of porpoising. If you want to go into it technically, then here's what the team have said that they did. On the floor, you can see two notches that are perpendicular to the side edge of the floor, and in between an S-shaped part of the floor is used, which should make the side skirts more effective. These, in turn, close off the floor to the rear and reduce the pressure difference under the car. The result, less to zero bouncing. This lets both drivers have less of a headache compared to everyone else, thank goodness. Ferrari is on the same side as Red Bull. They've been controlling their porpoising issues in the past races, but during the most recent ones, it seems to be present again. Charles Leclerc was seen bouncing up and down the straight since Barcelona. Ferrari paraded to us their solution on the second day of Bahrain. They did it differently compared to the other Formula One teams because they set the car a bit high on the asphalt. Their F175 featured a revised floor as well, featuring a long knife-shaped profile on the side. As the profile rises a little towards the inside, a long groove is created between the raised edge and the bodywork. According to the team, that knife-shaped profile is reinforced with some metal clips, which are needed to counteract deformation at high speed, as this can weaken the effect. With this solution, cars normally lose time, but Ferrari has adjusted their suspension so they gain all the lost time back in the slow corners. What a nice strategy that is. Deserves the world title, don't you think, if they could get one of their drivers to actually finish a race. Ferrari is infamous for that. Charles Leclerc has led so many races, placing pole in multiple qualifiers, but he never seems to win a race because of team strategies or car problems, etc. A lot of opportunities are lost because of how the team works, and that's really sad, and we really hope that that changes. Now we're left with Mercedes, who seem to be the team that is most affected by porpoising. According to experts and avid Formula One fans, it matters what they sacrifice and how well they manage it when it comes to solving porpoising issues. To what extent is Mercedes willing to sacrifice? Lewis Hamilton is already in physical pain. To the driver, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix was crazy. That was the most painful race, the toughest race that I've ever experienced, he said. The driver could be seen struggling as he was going out of his car post-races. Mercedes is in front again, but the consequences of it are so bad to its race drivers. Toto Wolff admitted that he and Mercedes really pushed Lewis to his limit. He's really bad, the Austrians told reporters. We've just got to find a solution. I think he is maybe the worst affected of all drivers. Luckily, Lewis finished 4th in Baku after starting 7th in the race. This win came with a cost though. Toto already suggested that the driver could be in danger of missing the next race in Canada, but Lewis was quick to dismiss it. His back pains continued until the most recent Canadian Grand Prix, and all we could hear him complaining on the radio of how bad his back was. If you're wondering how bad Mercedes porpoising is to hurt Lewis like that, then here it goes. Team Mercedes was also in front of the grid for several years. Lewis would usually win races, and that resulted in him having 7 world titles. Now he's usually in midfield because of his car. Team principal Toto Wolff explained that the W13 is carrying the porpoising into the high-speed corners, followed by the long back straight, making the effect worse. This phenomenon is leading to a significant proportion of the performance deficit. However, Wolff thinks that there are other areas where the car can improve. Mercedes feel like they've already solved the issue, but Toto expresses that Mercedes still needs to bring more performance to the car. He wants to progress by trying to unlock more pace from the car at a wider range of ride heights. George Russell, the other driver of Mercedes and the Grand Prix Drivers Association director, directly asked the FIA to look into the matter, as he now feels there is growing concern regarding the safety consequences which come from being excessively shaken around at high speeds. Other Formula 1 teams have had similar thoughts like George, but at the same time, not all teams agree with the idea of changing the rules or doing anything drastic in the short term, because this is not even an issue all teams have been facing in the last few races. McLaren's Daniel Ricciardo shares his concern by saying drivers cannot continue to macho out porpoising injuries. He adds that he was in pain as if it felt his brain and spine had been compressed. Yikes. A lot of old school fans think this new phenomenon is just a way to make the sport equal for all teams, because most of them have already solved it naturally. But we do kind of feel bad for Mercedes, especially seeing all the toll it takes on its drivers. Porpoising issues are really bothersome, and not all teams can fix it. So we're left to question, will the FIA step up and fix the issues this year? It's a nuisance for drivers. The fact that some of them are already having physical pain because there's a clear sign that they should already intervene.